Nonsia abo apemu ewusuafo mamu nyina ajo UTV so enie omayimu ene amahodo so nsem ayensa kane aboabo no eno na edru so ayede ebremu efri abeka junction ewo enkrakopon emo DSTV channel 360 yenam so na enyumako bi adama eno onum akampom asoyasene ayede enyumre kaseboy ebremu na sa enyumako no ebi eye this way chocolate drink osudio hia ene enso special ice anunso yensuo emu ode ene mu eye krojin na afi special drinks anunso emu gu ahododo beto bia no ekoyi anu atondodo obi abesrawa na otumi enya bi anom enyumako ni aboafo enkan na akampom asoyasene akaseboy de ebremu na de bedi mu akotine bi enie Mashebe da Afia chiame akasa de atudwa se one any civil society organizations e ku ahodo e wo memu no wo mu ehyiehia age onim de kakra de ye adwuma e wo Mashebe da Afia
na dom kuma so a e wo Mashebe dwam ene de atudwa se sika aban e kire se wo de akon COVID-19 yade ne e wo man Ghana mu no esese hwehwemu mapa ekoso e wo
sanso ena o memu adwadifo ekuo no wo mu akasa de ato abenim se benchmark value reduction policy no sa ban and reverse ne dia kwan bia so no ne atuate de wonu beti bi pa
na oswafo ohwe yensase ene obo ade ni pa atwa ho ahia so ene de atudwa se 2020 budget no esese Ghana mabu no ehwe ebo aban achidom na yagitum
sanso ena Al Jazeera eye ekuwa na mpadwuma kuo no wo de satellite images emfonyi bi aba asanfonyi no kire United Arab Emirates for One at the more do military support pa Thai Ethiopia aban echi.
Now was South Africa my musono health minister at the aba mountain se COVID-19 yade no ama na homene so nam so kra moma hu eye new variant kra wo mu a na ni eye den pa. Na nsem bi eka we hu editie na edihwe ene yesamfo aso ne so se yemfa mre mo se nonsia empa mu kasebo yenya ye de kasebo yi ebre mo eye mu nuaba Adwoa Obiyaa Obeng mini nuaba
Afia Adutwumwaa Morosa
na yemmo enwura ensem nimu na yenko mrahye bedwam eho na minority caucus eye dom kuma eho mrahye bedwam ede atudwa se esese hwehwemu mapa ekoso efa sikapudu a aban ekese wode akon COVID-19 yade no ewo oman Ghana mu efri 2020 ebesi sabre na honorable Kwabena Minta Akando ya oye ranking member on health ewo mrahye bedwam ya ono so na ye mrahye bedwam ni emadwabo so no na friends emtrofo a wode to wo manim ewo mrahye bedwam enedai
na COVID wo rakoto hand sanitizers na ade be 343 million na 2021 na COVID aba fom no rakoto eno sa na na so be 597 million ndi omo sie COVID na chi na mu di yesika COVID inzo enkoi ese nra Germany ya recorded about 77,000 cases other countries record ubasi yet wa ye say ya we are wonders will never end. I agree with the minister and I also wonders shall never end and so wonders ebe end there and continue also a minister dim in any serious jurisdiction you value the health of the country no he will not be there as a minister so wonders will never end
adie bia ye nuan wo minority ways no ye ntontwene ye be di hu abobo ene atepoi na hu say ye adan na ade ye me won akakra ni say last sitting parliament ba kuna ye rise assembly oma minuen honorable Akando ranking member omna no champion the course say even though mu bibi asa aben discan you go through the procedural models say emrasi you say you start say you spend it you tiamra ema me kura me kotu enwuma na ebo ekwan efa so eyi so man sika PFM Act 2016-921 section 18 e catchere say yare mpo bi ti say ba e was say sa ekwan na chinchin na ye use ye sika ne ade no ye timi suspend because of how na aba ye wasundie mre ene ye wo entokwamre ba ye afa na aba call law mu akwa bureaucratic amani pa ewu o man ti ase and the same people yes to yabo amanage ade effectively akofonti ye hye ne ma kwan party omsi dabi enti de pese ye kan se minority no oman no na omo pe ni ye anase enam se 24 2024 is at the corner no on person man say near kase MPP nyade aban no ma ba na ene de na chese de omu ya no nyakwan papa no ena de ka kire mu say yare yi enne enipa ewu ekofom enipa enya yare ni bi ekofom yan ka say nti atumada da bi. But you manage situations based on prevailing conditions. And it's about no whatever and carry in coffin and come in yare ni bi nkofom. Oma omo hu India Ghana Health Service COVID committee ani afa omo no any aban finance ministry any health ministry they are working around the clock omo ye adwuma omo ye ne kama inti Ghana for omo makoma nto omo yam yare di obi nim ya pese ya kacha minority for say yare say wo say wo tie wo say wo amariko A or B say ufri sabe esrem amantifi anasa central region Ashanti or Volta any de enkahwe yare nim obi ne kala ne sika ene ne tenten eti esre wo mu samre na so me yake hu bom no mu jai amanyesa yare ba yenka amanyesam sa no man tiase say nka Obeng me nko okura ni figures enam say aban no atia denti no ene nipa no kura sa start wu mo yare nipa bebrewu ene de wan fa ama.
Ghana Union of Traders Association Omemu Edwadifo Enkabum Kono Wamu akasa ede ato aban enim say benchmark value reduction policy no otwesan anampo reverse ya ene ombema nafuna aban pa de bia de bechi bia oyechire mu odene wano de beta so ewo memu agina so de atentasu kokontesu emu opie ede atwere aban na sa ensemi wamu panyin pa ani dini Dr. Joseph Obeng ene gine ku no anemo ene UTV samtro for twetwe nkoma what is answer me etudwa
Ghana Union of Traders Association ayadwadifo enkabomuku na sakui enkuo nketenkete baya aduosia nwotwe 68 ena akabom ehye wonase na wato nkra ede akwakoma aban se benchmark value enteso no aban yenhwe na wansesa na no se akoba ne saa obeti won ho ede agu monten so ayeye kira no odin ede ti aban Ghana Union Traders Association bano dani Dr. Joseph Obeng ena de sansemi etu UTV kasebo anim
ahokyra yewom nam COVID hunsunsanso freight charges are yetua well commodity prices are costro ye bahasi ya new taxes are ya introduce na film kwa port levies and charges are salary tin ama adwadie ayeden ama yedwadie eguri samre pa de yesa ebe increase duty eno ngeka wa bedin say adwadifo ye beji atum samre de ebedin nti aban enhwe na yene no konyasie benchmark no out of the blue benchmark no by because there was a problem and the problem and am also solve na mkofa benchmark reduction policy ni by say edumre bi na mpese mo reverse na mo reverse akọ sa wo how no mu ana eno na yesi da bi say pro how na ye de beto manimu a mo de benchmark no by say sasi nkonya e tell say e kwan say na ye de e fa so de asolve amamo and this are there bi enya dia ye betumi ati asiama yi na sa kwese wo impose bibia yeso ye stakeholders kaza mambo a wo mo ye government and wo mo parliament and you bia what the chefa yeso ye jadifo edu gotie AGI for asem abra wo mo all the opportunities the concessions that we've made for them ya mo concessions bebre ye tua duty wo mo ntua bi VAT ye de wo mo de mo ye tua VAT ye mfa ma ye ye sika ye levies a ye tua no mo sa de sa levy no de so wo mafi wo mase de fund no wo mo na exporters ye ni sa chef tap ntreni a woje wo enti wo muntie ya sopam na de ese wo mo ye no wo mo nje ye na ye ho nto ye Indian develop wo man no aban yeska leakages e was system na dozo wo prog sa leakages no parliament in say yanso ya adwadie wo bia constituency wo bia do ma adwadie endi no constituency eti mo omo take it serious na wo mu na no ehun say wo mo ka assembly am adwadie at this time COVID time eniema akosoro wo bia nim say mansa adwa so emu aye den ye adwadie mu no ngeka this time ebe den see betimi accept BBC yes you nipa omuntie asem just say there say ba no ebeba that's it
na yenko oswafo hwe ensase ene oboade ne pa atwa ye ho ahia so eye honorable Samuel Abu Jinapo na ode ato Ghana mabru nyina anim se wo mo emmo Ghana ban achi dom na 2022 budget no a ye kenkan ye no yentumi enjintum na sa budget we no eye agenkwa budget ya ebeboa abayi Ghana afri amna donko a COVID-19 ede yen ekomu no eho.
The Speaker had this to say about the global economy, and I quote, world economic activity in 2020 was around 6.5% less than it would have been had there not been a pandemic. Instead of the global economy growing by 3% as expected, it shrunk by 3.5% in the biggest annual contraction since the Second World War. In the biggest economies alone, the IMF predicts further job losses of 25 million in 2021 and 20 million in 2022, end quote. Mr. Speaker, I give all these statistics to establish the point that this budget statement and economic policy presented to this House by President Akufo-Addo seeks to give solutions in dealing with the Ghanaian peculiar situation which has arisen out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And in all parts of this budget and on all accounts, this budget clearly, if this House were to support it, will indeed offer the Ghanaian people this recovery and unleash the jobs for the youth and prosperity for the good people of this country. Mr. Speaker, already, out of the efforts of President Akufo-Addo, the economy is recovering. The economy is recovering. Mr. Speaker, just 2 days ago, specifically on Monday, 22nd November 2021, the Bank of Ghana reported in its updated Composite Index Economic Activity that annual growth rate in September 2021 was 11.2% compared to 10.8% in 2020 and 4.2% in 2019, a sign of a sustained recovery from the global pandemic. Mr. Speaker, that is a clear indication that the measures being taken by President Akufo-Addo and his government is leading to recovery of the national economy. And I call on this House to support this budget, and I call on the country to support this budget. I call on the youth of this country to support this budget, because this budget, the Speaker, this budget, this Ajinkwa budget, is the budget that will pull this country out of the doldrums. Mr. Speaker, there's been a lot of debate in this House. There's been a lot of political scoring and propaganda in this House. But Mr. Speaker, let me put before the House just one statistic, and this is not my statistic. This is statistics from the Ghana Statistical Service. Mr. Speaker, and to appreciate these data, I refer the House to page 32 of the budget before us, figure 1. And there, Mr. Speaker, you will find that in 2014, GDP growth was 2.9%. In 2015, it was 2.1%. In 2016, it was 3.4%, which is the best. Mr. Speaker, today, in spite of all the difficulties our national economy has undergone, in spite of the disruption in global supply chain, in spite of the fact that even developed industrialized countries are struggling, today in 2021, the GDP growth as of today stands at 3.5%. Mr. Speaker, in 2014, there was no pandemic, there was no crisis. In 2015, there was no pandemic, there was no crisis. In 2016, there was no pandemic, there was no crisis. And yet, the best GDP growth our opponents called in 2016, which is 3.4%, today in 2021, with a pandemic, with a global economic crunch, we are growing at 3.5%. Our worst was their best. Yeah.
Yetwa Kasia Bono Eso Mrashebe Chiame woni Right Honorable Aban Kingsford Sumana Baben Wakasa Ede Atudwase Mrashebe Dwam wonum ahyase any civil society organizations ahodo mechire kokwa ahodo ewo memu no wonum ehyiehia na waje wonim de kakra wo ewo amemu ho no na wode aye adwuma ewo Mrashebe Dwafe ne kwa betumi aboa ama adwuma wonum eye no etumi ayemre ama breko no anso no amemu etumi akoso wano.
I can only assure you that Parliament will do its business as usual, trying to serve the best interests of the people. You all agree with me that since the outcome of the 2020 elections, some fresh air seems to have blown across the country with the emergence of a new mix of political actors in the country. And the expectation of all of us is that governance will not be business as usual. I, in particular, take that message very seriously. And I was happy the joy and enthusiasm, in fact, the passion of civil society organizations as to the glimpse of hope that has befallen the country. And I wasn't surprised very early in my tenure, a lot of you from your various civil society organizations came not just to only congratulate and welcome me to the hot seat, but also to draw my attention to very key burning issues. Some dealing with governance, some dealing with the economy, some dealing with decentralization, some dealing with corruption, and other unlawful behaviors and incompetence shown by leadership of the country. I must say that I learned a lot. I was very grateful, and I did indicate that we will take it up and see what we could do. At the end of the day, to assure you that we're not just going to engage civil society. And when I talk about civil society, it includes the media. We will create the conditions for you to partner Parliament, to strengthen the institution of Parliament, to perform its functions as the people's representatives. So it's not just engagement, but partnership. That is the way forward for me. And therefore, I'll be most interested in those that are developmental oriented.
Na yanko Minister for Information ho Honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah na odi atudwa sesisia na aban ede hyehepa egu form na comprehensive agenda eno no efa mfididwuma ho no wo mu atumi abiebie ewo ye mantam dunsia no a ewo oman Ghana mu na we no eba beboa ama African Continental Free Trade Area dwumadie no a yedi ho adniema anase yedi ho dwa ewo oman Ghana mu no atumi awie peye.
We believe that trade facilitation plays a critical role in market integration and taking advantage of SEZs, as well as the operationalization of the AfCFTA, requiring a strong and robust trade facilitation system, particularly at our ports of entry. In this regard, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Ghana has introduced a number of trade facilitation measures to simplify the trading regimes. The reduction in the number of inspection bodies at our ports and border posts, the harmonization and simplification of customs procedures and documentation have been established to ensure that businesses operating within SEZs.
Ausianfo na ye kam se no sempe mu kasebo e wo UTV so e wo Enkran Abeka Junction ye twe ho apasesia.
Why we've met here today to share ideas on how to expand in this very area.
To face